All right. My name is Naif Mubarak. This is the Mubarak Law Facebook Live show every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And what we try to do is bring on guests who can help educate our followers and our viewers and take any questions live that we can. And I'm very excited about tonight's Facebook Live. And I know I say that every week, but this time we have a really special guest, somebody that we've been working with professionally for the last 4 years. And it's the first time we are having a chiropractor on the show. So before we get started, I am going to just keep our tradition. We're going to say some good news, and we're going to go ahead and share that with you. Seminole County has started to offer small business grants. So if you are a small business owner, Seminole County has some grants available to you from the CARES Act. Kids are back in school. I hope everybody had a wonderful first week. These are tough times, but I'm happy to see everybody's doing that. And immigration courts are going to be reopening in Orlando after September, the second week of September. So I'm going to go ahead and read our quick bio of our really well-experienced Dr. Awadi Hassin. He is a Moroccan by birth, and however, over 21 years experience as a chiropractor, and we have been working with him. He has received his bachelor's degree from the University of Massachusetts, and then his studies for chiropractic care in Davenport, Iowa. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Dr. Hassin. We also have our case manager, Kelly. And so we're going to go over the whole process, the legal side and the medical side with you all tonight. So everybody, please welcome Dr. Hassin. Dr. Hassin, welcome. How are you doing?
Pleasure to have you, Mubarak. Pleasure.
It's great to have you. Thank you for agreeing to be on here. I know it's late on a Thursday night, but we really do appreciate it. So I know that we work closely because of the fact that you guys speak so many languages and you have really been outstanding. So from my understanding, Dima Rehab, you guys speak English, Spanish, French, Moroccan Arabic. I think we might have the same amount, but I feel like, no, we have you beat. We have Portuguese in my office, but we are almost identical in the languages there. So Dr. Hassin, welcome. Ahla wa sahla. And for our viewers.
Thank you.
So I do need to ask you, how did a Moroccan individual like yourself end up all the way in Iowa? I think this is an interesting story that we should all hear, and you can share with us if you don't mind.
Actually, after finishing my undergraduate studies in Boston, I was looking for a better education in a chiropractic college, and Iowa happened to have one of the oldest chiropractic university in the world. Actually, this is the birth of chiropractic medicine was in Davenport, Iowa. So it was very intriguing to move out there and then pursue the education in one of the best colleges of chiropractic in the world.
And how did you like Iowa? How was it? Was that different or similar to Florida?
The weather, of course, it's bitter cold in Iowa. It's snowy and it's cold, but the people are very friendly, and we were able to make some good friends, including teachers and in the campus and outside in the local community of Davenport. So it was a great experience overall.
All right. Well, so now I'm going to ask you some questions about, the medical side of personal injury, car accidents, and slip and falls. And I'll bring Kelly on so she can join us. For everybody who's watching, please welcome Kelly. This is Kelly. She is a third-year law student, but she has over, 3-4 years experience, maybe more as a case manager. 6 years experience, 6 years experience as a case manager, and she is our wonderful case manager at Mubarak Law. So for those who are just joining, many of you I know that we are absolutely passionate and love immigration law, but we also handle personal injury. And so we wanted to give you guys this opportunity to learn more. We do have some people saying hello. So Lillian, hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. And Maria del Carmen, welcome. And I'm glad that you guys, this is going to be a really good opportunity to speak about personal injury. So Kelly, we have a new client. They're in a car accident. They've now need to be seen by a chiropractor. What are some of our things that our office does to help individuals locate someone? If you can run through that with us.
Sure. So once a client comes in and they don't have a chiropractic that they can treat with, what we will usually do is we will provide them with a list of different chiropractors that are either close to their job or close to their home. The client will then decide where they want to treat. We usually do provide them with a list of doctors that we work with here in the office, because we know that they will, provide the treatment that they need for their case, as well as work with our office with obtaining medical records and bills once they're done treating.
Okay, so then I'm going to turn my attention to Dr. Haseen now. And once our clients have chosen you because of, either convenience to their work or because of language and comfort, what is the first thing that happens when a car accident patient comes in your office? Or can you walk us through what initial visit might be?
The initial visit, the first thing first is to gather as much as medical information as possible and go through like a thorough history of the patient. If there is any pre-existing condition, also request any medical records if the patient have been to the ER or to the urgent care facility. We can request any diagnostic imaging, and then we can go over those records with the patient. But the initial exam also include a thorough range of motion exam, spinal examination, neurological exam, and an orthopedic exam to figure out and document better the injuries of that patient, or to what extent the patient, for example, whiplash, is that severe, is that mild, is that moderate? So it takes about 1 hour to do the exam. Also, we can initiate treatment depending on the finding that same day. Also, in the first visit, we make sure we have a police report, and some patients don't have it at the time of the visit. We urge them to go online and then print that police report, or can request it from the police department.
Okay, so for many of you who are just tuning in, we have Dr. Haseen with Dima Rehab. They have offices in Orlando and Kissimmee, and we have our very own case manager, Kelly. We're kind of going through both sides of the personal injury process, medical and legal. And so we just heard what the initial treatment is like. There's a full evaluation, heavy documentation, and oftentimes you don't have the police report, and that's because it can take several weeks before the crash reports are available online. Now, Dr. Haseen, what else happens? Do you give a treatment plan? What does that look like for them?
After the thorough exam, we kind of have an idea about the extent of the injury. So we come up with a tailored treatment plan for the patient, which is it can go from 2 to 3 times a week for a period of 4 to 5 weeks. Then we do like a re-examination, give or take, after the first month and a half of treatment. And then during this treatment, the patient gets passive modalities. What I mean by passive is like muscle stimulation, some ultrasound in the area of pain, traction or manual therapy, and some sort of working the trigger point of the muscles knot. We make the patient feel at ease. It's like in a medical spa. They feel more comfortable, and then we start to initiate also rehabilitation and active care as the patient can tolerate. What I mean by active care is exercises, rehabilitation to make sure the patient go back and then go back to a normal activity of daily living.
So when somebody, a lot of the complaints we see is neck and back, and sometimes if somebody goes to the chiropractor, the ER too soon, a lot of times these injuries really don't materialize or come to the surface until several days later. Have you ever had it where a client was only complaining about their neck, but there was some other severe medical issue that the client didn't even know what was happening? And how do you go about detecting and evaluating their overall health?
Well, Mubarak, for most of the patients that come are either a rear end collision or a side collision, or maybe just a driver ran into some tree or a stationary object. So after the exam, most patients are either complaining of neck and back pain or shoulder pain, but they tend to ignore what happened to the brain in the during this accident. So that's why it's very important to look for symptoms or sign of symptoms of concussion or mild traumatic brain injury. And these symptoms could vary from loss of balance to dizziness to blurry vision to poor memory or feeling nauseated or ringing in the ears, maybe mood swings or personality changes. So all these things tend to be ignored by the patient.
I'm happy you brought that
up.
The mood swing. I had an accident a couple years ago, and I didn't think anything of it. But I was telling you, I was in a bad mood for weeks, and I finally went to the chiropractor, had the massage, had the alignment, and you could just feel all of the relief come off. And I don't think we realize how much high impact or even a small impact can cause our bodies, especially a lot of it comes from tensing up and bracing for impact. Kelly, what kind of questions are you seeing coming in or that we see very often when it comes to a PI sign up for somebody who's brand new?
Sure. So sometimes they'll ask us I think the winning question is, when would I see my money? How fast does a case resolve? And we usually tell clients, it really depends on your injuries and the severity of your injuries. It varies on the doctor. The doctor's recommendation is the utmost important for any case. So listen to your doctors. If your doctors are recommending a treatment for 3 months or longer, that's really what you're going to do for those 3 months. Once you're done treating, as I stated before, we'll request medical records and bills, and then from there we will prepare the demand package, and it usually takes about between a month or 3 months before we can settle the claim.
Dr. Haseen, what would you say is the most common question you get from a first-time visitor? Is it the same thing? How long is this going to take? Or how often do I come? What is one of the most common questions you receive from a brand new patient?
Most patient or most the question that I get is this going to heal? Or is my disc herniation ever going to be the same? This is a very important question and brings about a very important subject, which is permanency. And I'm sure you can. Without permanent injury in the legalities, there is no case. So,
right. So, I mean, I think that's everybody. I'm happy that with the questions with you are about their health, right? And I think it's really scary for a lot of our clients when we go to the case. Is this going to be forever? Am I ever going to get better? Because sometimes these injuries can be really limiting on their lives and having a huge effect.
Naif, if I could interrupt, I think a lot of the times why our clients do ask us how long the case will take is because we have a good amount of clients that they lose their jobs and now they're depending on the money that's coming from the settlement to be able to either, pay, they're either owe family members a lot of money and are trying to pay them back, or they're behind on their rent. And, when they speak to the doctor, they're stating how much pain do I have to be in? And then with us, they're stating, when can I see the money that's coming out of the settlement because I need to pay bills. Sometimes their cars are total losses and they don't recover anything for them. They have no car for a couple of years until they can get a settlement out of the case.
Yeah, and that's very true. So thank you for bringing that up, because I know a lot of times our clients are missing work to go to therapy. They're not able to work because of their injuries. So a lot of time the financial bills start to really pile up and it can become very stressful. And I do want to thank Dr. Haseen. He's always very accommodating with our clients and letters of protection. And a letter of protection is to prevent our client from paying anything out of pocket. We send a letter of protection to the medical provider. This way, they can bill the client's case and not require the client to pay out of pocket. And it kind of gives some relief to the individual, how small or big, but a lot of times they are going through very difficult times. Now, I think we're going to touch on it, but what would you say, doctor, is the worst thing or biggest mistake somebody can make while they're treating with you?
Very important question is when the patients stop coming for therapy because they think they feel better and they don't need no more therapy, which is totally wrong. We have to stick with the treatment plan as described by the doctor, your doctor, until you're done with the treatment. Then it will be like a final examination to determine if there is any permanency, or at that point we call maximum medical improvement, which is basically a plateau of improvement. At that point, we do a final examination to determine if there is any permanency and how are their injury causing. There is a legal term for that. It's called duty under duress. Basically, for example, the patient used to play soccer with the kids, can no longer play because of neck and back pain, or used to be picking up the groceries from the car into the kitchen, or moving furniture around the house. These are the things that the patient used to enjoy in the past, but I cannot do it now because directly caused by the injuries from the accident. So these are the things when the patient finished the treatment plan, is very important for the patient to be no gap of treatment during that treatment plan. And it's usually between 2 to 3 months when we achieve that maximum medical improvement.
Kelly, would you say that?
Notify you, of course, and then we can gather all.
Yeah, Dr. Hassin is always very active. We receive phone calls letting him know that he's completed an evaluation, so we know the case is going to get ready to be settled. Kelly, do you think that besides the not following the doctor's order, what other mistakes do people do after they've been in an accident?
Okay, so in Florida, Florida is actually one of the few states they have a 14-day PIP rule, which requires any injured victim to seek medical treatment within 14 days of the accident. A lot of times what happens is clients don't feel pain right away or don't feel any discomfort until a couple of days later. They don't know of this rule and will then not treat until, for example, the 15th day. Once that 15th day passes, your PIP coverage under your policy no longer applies. So if you have 10,000 or 25,000, now all those medical records, medical bills will come out of your settlement. At that point, we would have to provide a letter of protection.
Thank you, Kelly. Yes, doctor, please go ahead.
There is an important point, with the 14 days, because most of the symptoms sometimes do not show immediately after the crash. Some symptoms can show even a month later. For example, headache, or even profound neurological symptoms, weakness in the arm, loss of sensations in the fingers, loss of strength. For example, if you drop things at the level of the upper extremities and neck. These are the symptoms do show later on, where it's initially it looks like a sprained strain. So most patients make the mistake of, oh, it's just a strain is going to go away on its own. Okay, they don't show up until, let's say, the 15th day. When we do the MRI or the X-rays, we find out that they have full-blown disc herniation, maybe sciatica. It is too late. There is no way they can benefit from the PIP information or from their insurance carriers. They have to.
A lot of times, guys, even if you life is very complicated and gets in the way. But Dr. Hassin said something earlier when we were on a call. Is like people take their health for granted, and your health should really be a priority for you. And so even if you get treatment within the first 14 days, if you take a break in the middle of the treatment plan, this might come back to haunt you when we go to settlements with the insurance company, because we will basically present your damages and your injuries, and then they will review your medical records, and they will review it very closely to see if there's any breaks in treatment. And they'll say, well, your client cannot be suffering that greatly. They're not even following the doctor's orders. So that's why we have a special banner just for following the doctor's orders and for the 14 days, because these are really important things. So for those of you who are just tuning in, I just want to reintroduce Dr. Haseen from Dima Rehab and Kelly, our case manager from Mubarak Law. They're both wonderful people. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and we provide you guys with as many updates as possible. And send us your questions. This way we can address them on Facebook Live, or even if you have any ideas for topics that you want to learn more about. I'm a strong believer that knowledge is power. Okay. Now this next point is so important, and I'm just going to put it here for a second. Okay. Uninsured motorist insurance. Okay. Basically, in Florida, it's not required to have bodily injury insurance. So if an individual who causes an accident, you have catastrophic damages or loss, they might not even have $10,000 to go after for your car accident case. And with you're basically protecting yourself, saying that I'm not going to trust the other drivers to have enough insurance. I'm going to cover my own And for really a couple dollars more a month, you're protecting yourself and you're protecting your family. And this way, God forbid there's an accident, your insurance company will have to pay your medical bills and pay for your damages due to the fact that the other driver didn't have the proper insurance to cover your damages, but you have So please, if you take anything away from tonight, please, two things: don't take your health for granted, and call your insurance company to do add to your insurance policies. Dr. Haseen, Kelly, I'm guessing you guys have probably seen really sad, tragic cases where the individual can't recover a dollar and is now left in debt and permanently injured, and there's nobody to sue. We can't go after anyone at that point in time. Would you guys agree?
To us in a couple cases here in the firm. I'm sorry, Dr. Haseen, go ahead.
No, actually, most of some of the patients, they call their primary care physician after a car accident, and most primary care physicians or urgent care, they don't take appointment immediately, especially now with COVID-19. So it is very important to come in immediately and call your chiropractor near you, and then I'm sure they have walk-in appointments available, so you can be seen within 14 days. And as far as the coverage, during my time when I practiced in Florida, only few patients knew about coverage. So that's how important that is to be, the message could be spread around, and how important, especially nowadays, people are driving without bodily injury, which is dangerous.
Right. So I think we're all in agreement here. And please, we always say, if you love somebody, call them and tell them, please get This is going to be a saving grace for so many people who might be in unfortunate situations. We've talked a lot about car accidents, and but personal injury is more than car accidents, right? So there's also slip and falls. Dr. Haseen, does Dima Rehab treat people who were not injured in a car accident, who may have been injured falling down or in some other accident? What other cases do you see pretty often come through your doors?
Yes, we have treated the patients that were with the slip and fall injuries, or either sport injuries, or even patient with chronic neck and back pain, from arthritis, from any spinal pathology. Yeah, but I would say we get quite a few of slip and fall, after they get a letter of protection from their attorney, so we can see them on that condition. What letter of protection? I'm sure Mr. Mubarak can brush on that.
Yeah, sure. We mentioned the letter of protection earlier, but for those, I know on Facebook, social media, people are coming and going. A letter of protection is basically allowing you to treat with a medical provider without making it cost out of your pocket currently, right? So we basically tell the medical provider, hey, we will ensure that you're paid once a settlement is reached. And if a settlement is reached and basically, once you start to do these cases enough, you build relationships with different medical providers. They're always willing to do this for our clients, especially Dr. Hassin, because as Kelly mentioned earlier, sometimes people are going through tough times financially or losing work. The last thing they need to do is be spending money on a medical injury that wasn't their fault in the first place, and hopefully using it towards something that they really, truly need it for. Kelly, do you have any other questions that you've received that you think we should address that we might not have? Put you on the spot.
Not that I can think of any right now at the top of my head. I don't know if you see any on your end.
Well, I know that. I'll tell you what I always get is, how do I get my $1 million? How do I get my billboard? How much is my case worth? Well, we mentioned the and that's because if there's insurance, that's going to dictate what the recovery is going to be like. More importantly, your injuries. These people who are receiving millions of dollars, they have probably received catastrophic loss, right? Maybe somebody may have lost a hand. Somebody has a permanent injury that's going to affect their ability to work and support themselves for the rest of their lives. So we see the billboard with the big numbers, but you don't know what the true injuries are behind that. We had a case where a young man, lost his eye, right? And that was, a larger settlement. The young man has completely lost an eye. This is the kind of things that you're going to see when you get into those levels. Now, imagine if you have lost a limb or you can't go back to work, you don't have the other driver doesn't have insurance. That's it. Your life has changed forever, and there's nothing that we can do about it if we can't recover because of a lack of insurance. So, for as far as the question, how much is my case worth? Like the most common lawyer answer on the planet is it depends. And it will be depending on your situation, depending on your injuries, and depending on how you treat and the insurance coverage on that.
I'm sorry, Naif. And just to give you a statistic, in Florida, there's about 25% of the drivers are not insured here in the state of Florida, which is a large number. And those that are insured doesn't mean that there is going to be coverage. It only means that they can have PIP and still not have bodily injury. So just make sure that you obtain your underinsured UIM coverage in your policies. Double check your policies, as that is most likely the most important, one of the most important factors.
PIP. Can you explain to PIP really fast? What does PIP mean? The personal injury protection.
Yes.
Especially with Kelly, with the at fault or not at fault. That can you explain that? It's very important. Some people, yeah.
Sure. So when I'll go first with Dr. Hassin's question. When you're at fault, it pretty much means you really can't bring a personal injury claim because you were the one that caused the accident. When you are considered not at fault is when you can bring a claim for injuries that you sustained because the other driver or two drivers, whether it was a two-car collision, caused the accident. With regard to personal injury protection, in the state of Florida, you're required to carry usually $10,000 under your policy, and that will provide you with $10,000 worth of that can pay your bills. But remember, $10,000 goes very quickly when it comes to medical records. When you're in the hospital, usually a visit for one day is usually $7,000 alone. While they don't pay $7,000 to insurance, but they'll still pay maybe $3,000. So make sure you have a good amount of protection for yourself, because even if you are at fault, your personal injury protection will still come in and provide you coverage, and at least you do have that to be able to pay your medical bills and for your treatment.
Right. Florida, so to be clear, Florida requires personal injury protection. That means if I'm in an accident and I cause the accident, there's protection to pay my bills for that treatment. But if I do not have bodily injury, then if I injured somebody, there's my insurance company is not required to pay for their injuries. So keep that in mind, you guys. This is Florida. There's no bodily injury, and a lot of states are not like us, but in more ways than one. But we love Florida, but we got to be aware of what is out there and to protect yourselves. Before we finish for today, I do want to just read something that Dr. Haseen has. He says, "Health is a journey, and we are here to help guide you along with your family and friends. So please feel free to call and contact them." And I really do believe that, if you're injured or you're trying to become healthier or more fit, it's truly a journey, and you should have your medical providers there with you along the way. And this has been an awesome Facebook Live. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Dr. Haseen, especially for joining us. Dr. Haseen, is there anything you want to add before we leave for tonight?
Actually, we have 2 facilities, one in Dr. Phillips and one in Kissimmee, and I have a female chiropractor. She's a female doctor of chiropractic. So for the Muslim ladies that feel uncomfortable and wearing the veil, feel free to come and be seen by Dr. Clark. She's fantastic. She's done a great job with Muslim ladies with the veil. So they need to have a private room for everyone.
Regardless of religion or anything, some people have preference to have same gender, and I know Dr. Haseen works so closely with the Muslim community and the Arab community, and culturally this is very big. So thank you for letting us know that. I know that is some people's concerns when they do go treat, is to, because chiropractic care is very hands-on and very into your personal space. So it's good to have those options, and thank you for offering that. And thank you guys for watching this week's Facebook Live. Again, I'm going to ask you, please like, subscribe, share, call your mom, call your aunt, and ask her to get insurance, because it's really that important. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week for our Facebook Live Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.